here in my garden, in my corridor. When you leave a comment, sometimes it grows as fruit, and then I read it back to you, and we all learn. We all become better human beings. So a video I made recently was called MyHeritage, what does a Spanish person look like versus Italian? And our great friend from Spain, Rosa Garcia Fernandez, had this to say, quote, "Hi, I'm from Spain. A question for you, can you tell me the difference between someone from the United States and someone from Canada?" And the implied answer is no. So she goes on to say, so the same for Italy and Spain. There are no physical differences, end quote. Now, remember, this is what Rose is saying, which is interesting to me. I mean, I remember I'm the dumb American. I don't know anything over here. I'm self-centered. I don't know anything outside the boundaries of this country because I'm so naive and ignorant. But based on the comments I've been receiving about all of these MyHeritage videos, most people are actually saying there definitely are differences between someone who's Spanish versus someone who's Italian. And that's why I'm asking questions to better learn that, because I always thought I was a quarter Italian and a quarter Mexican. And turns out that MyHeritage DNA is actually showing that I was Spanish instead of being Italian, which makes me more than half Latino, which I guess that could be its own video too, about if someone wanted to argue if I'm Latino or not. But according to the test, I'm something like 23% Central American and 33% Spanish. So that's over half. That's over half Latino, right? But to answer let's talk more about this though. Let's talk about the Canadian versus American thing. So while we all know I'm horrible at world geography, I am good at geography here in the United States. But I also I'm very familiar with Canadians. And yeah, you can't tell by looking at someone whether they're Canadian or American. That's true. The only way you can maybe tell them apart is in the accent. But even then, here in America, we have such distinct accents. For example, now I am from the South. I'm from Alabama, but my mother's from Buffalo, New York, which is right there near the border of Canada. But if I spoke the way most people speak where I'm from, it would be more like this. In Alabama, they got a different accent. So you got to know what it sounds like, because if you were from anywhere else, you might hear it and think it's supposed to be something else, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different accent, and it can actually sound more foreign than a Canadian accent. Now, I'm not saying that's the best Southern accent ever, but you could tell there's a difference. But you compare that to someone who's from New York City or Boston. Our accents, I think, can be more dynamic here in the United States compared to an average person from California versus someone who's from Toronto. Okay, so other than the accent, and even then it's not that distinct. Yeah, I agree, you can't really tell a difference for the most part by looking at someone, whether they're Canadian or American. You'd have, in fact, anyone who's ever been Canadian had to tell me they were Canadian. I didn't know. There have been people who were from Minnesota or even Michigan or Wisconsin, and I actually thought they were Canadian. Turns out they're American. So even the accent, you can't really tell. So there you go. You can't tell by looking at someone whether they're Canadian or American. But I guess it is up for debate. Most people on this channel has commented and said you can definitely tell the difference between Spanish and Italian. And I'm asking what those differences are, but as far as our good friend Rosa Garcia Fernandez, she says you can't tell by looking. So if you have something to contribute, open my mind, open my eyes, help me learn, because I am just the silly, uneducated, in the dark, silly American.